Hey guys, so we're going to have a little look at the coordinate geometry question. So it's question 2 on paper 2 of the 2019 mock. This is the last two parts of the question. So the first parts were pretty straightforward, like standard parts. These ones are a little bit more tricky and take a little bit of thinking. So the whole point of this is to, if you can't get the full marks on this, is to do as many steps as possible to get as many attempt marks. So this says that ACBD is a parallelogram in which AB and CD are diagonals. So these are two lines, the lines AB and CD. Find the coordinates of the point D. So the coordinates of A, C and B, these three here, were all figured out in the previous parts of the question. So we're going to draw a parallelogram like this. Now, how I know where to put my points is it says that AB and CD are diagonals. So it's quite a tough question. But I know that these two and these two are diagonals there. So my parallelogram looks like this. And I actually have a point in the middle there, which is a midpoint. So we could call that point E. I know what these 3 points are here. So let's fill them in. So A is 0, 12. C is 7, 5, and B is 0, 2. And I'm looking to find out what this is. So my x, my y coordinate for this. And put them in as question marks. A few things we know. Because this is a parallelogram, I know that the distance from here to here is the same as the distance from here to here. So if I know how far I move in the x and the y here, I can work out how far I'm moving the x and the y here, working backwards to give me this. So think about it. The distance from C to A is the same as the distance from B to D. So let's have a look at C and A. So I'm going to start with C here. That's 7 and 5. And A is 0 and 12. Well, look at my x coordinates. So my x is 7 and my x is 0. So if I go from 7 to 0, well, I go back -7. And if I go from 5 to 12, I go +7. So going from 7 to 0, x to x, I go -7. Going from 5 to 12, I go +7. So all I have to do is do the exact same thing to this. So I start at B. So B is 0 and 2. And my D coordinate I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out now. So if I go -7 for my x coordinate here, because that was the distance I went there, and I go +7, because that was the distance I went from 5 to 12 there, here I can actually work out my point D. So 0 minus 7 gives me -7, and 2 plus 7 gives me 9. So point D is -7 and 9. Again, a little bit tricky. Takes a little bit of thinking. The maths is not that hard in it, but it is one of the tougher questions that you could get on coordinate geometry. Hence, otherwise, find the equation of the line CD. This one's actually very straightforward. So, equation of the line CD, I'm given 2 points. The first thing I need is the slope. And my slope formula is y minus y1, or sorry, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then my equation of the line formula, which is y minus y1 is equal to m on x minus x1. So let's figure out the slope. So I'm going to put down C, which is 7 and 5. I'm going to put down D, which is -7 and 9. Now, if you got this part wrong in this question here, you don't get punished for it on the marking scheme. So, just because you got this part wrong here, it doesn't translate to this. You can still get full marks in this question, right? It takes whatever answer you have there, and if the workings out are right, then you won't be penalised at all. So always attempt every part. So this is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. My slope, which is given by the letter n, is going to be y2 minus y1, so 9 minus 5, x2 minus x1, minus 7, minus 7. So 9 minus 5 gives me 4. Minus 7 is minus 14. Or, I can simplify that down, that becomes minus 2 over 7. So I divide everything by 2. So that there is my slope. So now I have my 3 pieces of information I need for this. I've got my y1, I've got my x1, and I've got my slope. 7 and 5 are my x1, y1. So let's fill it in. I do y minus y1, which in this case is 5, is equal to minus 2 over 7 on x minus x1, which in this case is 7. Here's the little trick of it. When it comes to a fraction and multiplying out a fraction, what I do is I take the denominator. The denominator for this is 7. And I'm going to times both sides of this by 7, because that gets rid of it. So I'm going to do times by 7 here, times by 7 here. Now, that cancels with that. Okay, so that goes away. So this side becomes 7y minus 7 times 5 is minus 35 is equal to minus 2 times x minus 7. I'm going to have 7y minus 35 is equal to minus 2 times x minus 2x. Minus and a minus gives you plus 14. And what I tend to do is I tend to get y by itself. So I'm going to be left with 7y. So I'm going to bring my minus 35 over here. It's going to become plus 35. So that brought over here, change the sign, is equal to minus 2x. And 14 plus 35 gives you 49. And the reason why I leave y on that side is that if we were looking for the slope, if we get y by itself on one side, we get the slope. So this would be your full marks here. But if I wanted the slope, if I was given this, well, I need to get y by itself. So what I would do is I divide across by 7. And if I divide that across by 7, remember this is just a bit extra, I would have y is equal to minus 2 over 7 x plus 49 over 7 there. And the number in front of x is my slope, minus 2 over 7, which is what we figured out here.